Here we go. Good morning, folks, and welcome to Mark's Business Check-in. Today is February the 3rd. This is our first show in February. We're live every weekday morning from 7:30 a.m. for about 20 minutes, talking about business and my experience of running my own companies and involved in business for the last 30 years. Hoping that banana skins that I slipped on, you won't slip on them. In other words, mistakes. The things that worked well for me will work well for you. That's important. I'm making sure my Instagram account is now live as well, so that we are all live all over the world. All over the world. So the temperature this morning in Dublin says is 3, but feels like -3. And also in London it's 0, and in Paris it's 6. It's very windy out there in Dublin this morning. Forecast for more rain and more wet, so be careful out there. But that is not your weather forecast. That is not your weather forecast. So we're nearly a month now into doing this show every single morning of the week, weekday morning, which is fantastic. And we went here yesterday because it was a bank holiday in Ireland. It was St. Bridget's Day weekend. So we went here yesterday. So apologies to our friends in London and Paris who missed me. Thank you for getting in touch with me and expressing your hope that I'll be back today, which I am. So can we talk about something about today that drives some people up the wall when they open their own business? And that is, when you're opening your own business, one of the things a lot of people will say to you, and they'll go to networking events and you go to all these events and they'll all say to you, you should spend time working in your business and spend time working on your business. Okay, spending time working in your business is straightforward. You're working in your business, you're doing all the stuff, you're doing the sales, you're doing the chasing of new business, you're doing accounts, you're doing all that type of good stuff, right? Which is working in your business. And working on your business is basically taking a helicopter view of the whole business to see where it's going. Now, the reason I say that will drive you mad is very simple. When you start your own business and you're a one-man operation or a one-lady operation or a one-person operation, the trouble is you have to do everything. You have to get the sales. You have to pay the bills. You have to do the chasing of the money. You have to do maybe the delivery of the product, if it's a physical product, or the delivery of the service. So it's you and you only. And when people have said to me, and I've heard people come to me and say, I should be working on my business at least one day a week and not in the business. My simple question to all of them is very simple. Who's going to answer the bloody phones if you're a one-person operation, if you're working on the business and not in the business? And you'll see, you'll get all these emails and you get all these mentors and all these gurus and all that type of thing saying to you, you need to be working one day a week on your business. Well, the challenge with that is, if you're a single person operation at the moment, working on the business means you're going to have to step away from the business. You're going to have to step away from sales, step away from credit control, step away from marketing, and step away from answering the phone. Right? So it doesn't work. Now, I remember when we used to have Indigo before we sold to Aircom, working on the business, myself and the then managing director, Shay, was basically 3 or 4 nights a week after everyone else had gone home. We'd go out for some tea. And over that tea was maybe an hour, 2 hours, going through everything that happened today and how is that affecting our overall plan. And firefighting, where are we going to get the cash? Where are we going to get this? And looking from the top down. But we did that over tea in a restaurant in Fitzwilliam Lane 2 or 3 nights a week. So it meant we didn't finish work really till 8 or 9 o'clock or later every single night of the week while we're trying to get this business to grow. But it was only when Aircom bought us and gave us a lot of money were we able to really work on the business by taking all the management team away for a day or 2 days or 3 days. Why? Because we had people who were working in sales. We had people on marketing. We had people in credit control. We had people in the web design department. And most of all, most importantly, we had people answering the phones, right? So when you go out on your own, don't listen to these people who tell you all this stuff. I'm just having a drink of my hot water and honey. Don't listen to all these people. Really don't. Because when you start your own business, you will have a business plan of where you hope to bring the business. And you will have ideas of where you want to bring the business. But the challenge with that is the reality of every day starts to seep in. When you win your first customer, you want to make sure that you look after that customer, look after them well. If you're delivering a product, make sure you deliver on time, make sure the product works and does exactly as you told them would do. If it's a service, if you're an accountant, if you're a solicitor, if you're a carpenter, plumber, whatever, you want to make sure that when you deliver the service to that first client, that you're going to do it well. And you'll find that a lot of your time is taken up with your first client, because this is the first time you've won a bit of business that's going to pay your bills. So you will spend time looking after that customer. And that's just reality. That's just normal. Like my first customer, when I had my very first business in the UK when I was 22, as people would know who read my book, You Need a Neck Like a Jockey's Bollocks to Be an Entrepreneur. And occasionally, there it is there. Okay. I always have it with me. But my first business was basically what you would call Deliveroo now. We had 11 restaurants that we delivered to around Chelsea, Kensington, Fulham, around that area, because we have 1.2 million, 1.4 million people living around that area. And we could get the food to them within the 30 minutes. But I always remember my first sale. And my first sale, believe it or not, this might sound funny, but it was a customer who paid by Amex American Express. And it was the old-fashioned cards in when you have to pull it on the machine. I never lodged that. It was for 74 sterling. I still have it in a frame, Mr. Sinclair, my first ever sale. But when that chap rang back again and again to order stuff off me, he was always well looked after. I looked after him really well because he was my first customer. And when we had a bookkeeping company, myself and my wife, and we looked after all the day-to-day bookkeeping. But I went out knocking on doors. I went knocking on doors to laundrettes, butchers, news agents, all that type of stuff. I went knocking on the doors, looking for their business. And the first person I got, we made sure that even though they only given us €60 a month or 60 punts a month at that stage to do their accounts, they got the service of someone who, as if they were spending 5,000 a month, because we looked after them really, really well. Because one, they were our first customer, and two, they were going to use them as a reference for any more customers. But because I was doing all that, I never had a chance in those early days to work on the business because I was working in the business. I was the one doing sales. Anne-Marie was the one doing all the work. It's only as we start to build up staff, and it's only as you start to take on more staff and your business develops, do you then have time to spend maybe half day a week or maybe a half day a month to start off with, to review where you are and work on the business. So it's very, very easy to get lost, very easy to get lost and listen to all these gurus. And, I used to go to these networking events, and you listen to people talking about working on the business, and you would leave those events feeling inadequate, feeling you're doing something wrong, feeling you're running your business wrong. Why? Because I was listening to these people telling me that I wasn't doing what a real entrepreneur does, which is working on the business as well as working in the business. And it's all hogwash. It's rubbish stuff. Because for the first year at least, if not 2 years, and I would say if not 3 years, you will put all your energy into running the business. You will put all your energy in to driving the business forward. Now, hopefully you'll do what I do. You still have your goals for the year of where you want to bring the business. And you still have your 2 or 3 clear goals on your whiteboard on your left hand side, that if you hit those three things, it would change your business completely. And that's why I say to everybody in the beginning of the year, have your three really aspirational goals. Take goals that if you look at now, you think you won't achieve them. They're so far off, you won't achieve them. But have them on that board and you see them every day. That's part of working on your business. And having your question of the week or question of the month or question of the 6 months. I have my question that I've had down since beginning of January. And as everybody knows, listens to this show, my question is, and I have it written down in my diary on every single day until I achieve it. My question for me is, I have a certain figure, listenerships and reach I want to get for this show. There's certain things I want to do with this show. And the question I have is, how am I going to hit that number and hit that what I want to do? But the reason I have it down in my diary is that's my way of working on my business without taking time out. I see that question every morning because it's written in front of me. I see that question every afternoon, every evening. Every time I open that notebook, that question is there. And the reason it's there is that at some point during the day, the week, and a month, somebody will say something to me. Somebody will show me something. I will see something. I will hear something. Then immediately, because I'm conscious of that sentence, I will say, that's what I need to do. That's what I need to do. And when we had Indigo, one of the things we wanted to do was we wanted to make sure that people could sign up without us having to send a discount to them. So our question at that stage was, how do we do that? And how we did that was we made it possible that people could just log onto the website and we gave them a code over the phone and they logged on and we never had to send out discs again. We saved money on sending out CD discs. We sent out basically a little card. And then after the next stage of development was we never sent out anything in the post. We saved the postage, we saved the card, and we allowed people to sign up by themselves. So every business has a question. Even Elon Musk has a question. His one probably was at one stage, how could you get the electric car to work? How could you get this component to work or that component to work? So my key question, which is the same one I've had for the last 4 weeks, is my way of working on my business. But I'm not taking physical time out. So if you have someone who's mentoring you or you have someone who's guiding you and are saying at the very early stages of your company, you need to be working on your business at least 1 day a week or half a day. Like, it's hogwash. That's not how you have to do it. Take another drink, sorry. Just be very focused and don't be embarrassed to tell people you don't have the time to work on your business because you're working in your business. And then those people say, oh, if you don't work on your business, you won't develop. Of course you'll develop. You will work on your business when you have the staff to cover you. Maybe when you have a bookkeeper who will do all the finance for you and chase your creditors. Maybe when you take on a full or part-time salesperson. Maybe when you take on someone that that's going to do all the marketing for you. Maybe you found someone you can outsource your marketing and your social media work to. Maybe you found someone to do all that. And most of all, you have found someone to answer the phone for you. Because as I say to people, what's the point in working on your business if no one's answering your phone and answer the phone to your clients and looking to help your business grow? There's no point, right? You're falling backwards. You're not going forward. Or do what I did with Shay in the early days of Indigo. Now, I meant we worked very long days because we started about 7:30 in the morning. But in the evening time, when everybody else was gone home, we'd go for tea down the road to McGrattan's restaurant. And we'd take out all our information that day and look at stuff and see where we're going. And that was real entrepreneurship. We were working a lot of hours. But we worked a few hours in the evening time on the business. And our questions at that stage was, how are we going to get the cash to buy more bandwidth to service more customers? How are we going to sell to the business community? The range of products for business community at that stage wasn't that great. It was basically ISDN lines, but we didn't have a very strong sales staff. So on the corporate end, so how are we going to fix that? How are we going to find the money for marketing? Because really, one thing we did notice was the more we spent on marketing, the phone lines would ring, of course. But when we stopped the marketing, the phone lines will still ring, but not in the same volumes, and they start to slip back. And you have to remember, people are only giving us €100 or 100 punts a year for an email account. So our business was really all about winning the business customer, not the domestic customer. So we spent a lot of time looking at that challenge and working on the business, but we did it in the evening time. And it took up a lot of energy, a lot of time. It ate into a lot of family time. But that's what we have to do to drive the business forward. That's what we have to do to drive the business forward. But during the day, we are in the office working in the business. We're in the office answering the phone. We're in the office answering customers' queries, making sure new customers are bedded in, making sure all that stuff was happening, right? And that was important to us. We worked really hard on that. So if you have started a new business, or you're a month, 6 months, 7 months, 9 months, wherever you are into your business, and it's still you, or maybe you and one other, when you go to these networking events and your local enterprise events and stuff like that, and you hear people blabbering on about working on the business, and working in the business, don't feel inadequate. Don't feel you're falling behind. Don't feel you're doing something wrong. You're not. If you're working in the business and the business is growing and getting to where you want it to go to, then you keep doing what you're doing. Yes, at a certain stage, you will have to start looking at working on the business to have an overall view of where you're going. Of course, you can use the weekends when all your customers are not ringing you, when the phone lines are all going to be quiet and dead because all your customers don't work the weekend. Maybe that's the time then you'll work on the business. Maybe on a Saturday morning, you spend a few hours looking at your spreadsheet, looking at your business plan, looking at what type of customers you have, looking at the spend, and deciding what next. So that's what I would say to you this morning. Once again, have your question of the week or your question of the month. As I said, my question has been the same since the beginning of January, since I launched this show. And my question, I have a detailed question I've written down. I have a certain number of listeners I want to hit. I have a certain place I want to bring the show, and a certain things I want to do with the show. So I have my key questions, my key one question, that if I can answer that shortly, it would help me. I had another key question coming into the end of December, and that was answered last Thursday, which is fantastic. And that was brilliant. Now that opens up another question for me, another end of in another business I have, right? So as you get these key questions are, in my view, your way of working on the business without you taking physical time out. It's getting your subconscious to look for answers for you to help develop your business. So don't get worked up if this week, next week, this year, you don't take time out to work on your business. As long as you're working in it, as long as you got turnover, as long as you're making a profit, as long as you're servicing your customers and you're looking after your customers well, as long as you're looking after your suppliers well, because they're also a shareholder in your business or a stakeholder. As long as you're looking after all those well and you are happy that you're doing it well, that's important, and you're happy that you're doing it well and that that's going in the right direction for you. And then when you deliver the product, a customer is happy. Or when you deliver a service, the customer is happy. As long as all that is working out in your favor and going the right direction. And come Friday evening, you've paid if you have staff, or you've paid your bills, which bills you have money in your pocket, you're not having a massive amount of sleepless nights. Yes, you will have anxiety, you will lose some sleep because you're a business owner. Right? If you're not, there's something wrong. No business is perfect. No matter what people say to you, no matter what business you look at, you might think he's turning over $1 million. God, he's doing so well. Look, she's turning over 2 million. God, she's doing so well. There's things happening in the background that you do not see, that you'll never see. And that's the sign of a good entrepreneur. They don't show you what's happening below the surface. They'll show you what they want to show you above the surface. And that's a key thing. That's really important. Okay. So thanks for joining me this morning. I hope that was of some help. If you do have any questions, markbeggs@gmail.com. Don't forget, if you missed any of our shows since the 6th of January, we are on every morning, live, 7:30 a.m. for about 20-25 minutes. I keep it short because I know you all have very busy days and you're all going off to work and you're all chasing new business, new customers, whatever you're doing. And so I'll try and keep it short. But our YouTube channel has all the shows since the 6th of January. So we also deliver them by podcast. So this show will be available in about 2 hours as a podcast as well. So if you'd rather listen to us while you're on the train, on the bus, on the bike, in the car, via audio only, the podcast will be available wherever you get your podcasts. You just type in Mark Beggs or Mark Listens To, and you'll find their stuff there. And if you have any comments, you have any suggestions, you have any advice, any questions, as I said, email me, markbeggs@gmail.com. And just to say to you again, we've an awful lot of free training videos. We have a fantastic one-hour training video on sales, all available on our YouTube channel. Just subscribe. And I would ask them, no matter where you're listening to us this morning, if you could follow us, it would be fantastic. At least that way you'll get notifications when we do go live. And we do put up more free training videos and more free training information. And not just about business. We also talk about dyslexia, because I'm dyslexic, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, ADHD. And we have an awful lot of free stuff for free information on our website, mindseyeeducation.com. So thanks so much for listening to me this morning. I'm going to end it on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram. We're staying live for a few minutes on TikTok. We always do, for a few minutes afterwards. So good morning, folks, on the other channels. Really appreciate you joining me this morning. Have a great week.